It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, though, Sean. There's always some breaking news. Come on, let's get it. Work program. You know. All right, everybody. The very first thing that I want to dive right into is, well, I'm going to say it right now, Sag Aftra is going to strike. Sag Aftra will strike. Tonight, the contract ends officially. They had an extension from June 30th to July 12th that ends at midnight today. And if you ask me, as a member, a card-carrying member of Sag Aftra, I think they're going to strike. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the news with the striking, with WGA, with AMPTP, with Sag Aftra. Now they've been pushing. They want them to extend, and they're like, we should extend further. Sag Aftra's like, no, we're not extending past tonight. They're like, well, let's get the federal government in here to help us negotiate, which is also weird. They didn't do that with WGA yet at all, but they're like, with Sag Aftra, let's bring in the federal government. I don't know if Joe Biden's going to be there, just be like, let's work a deal. I don't really know, but it's happening today. Apparently they've been sitting down all day trying to figure something out. And on top of that, apparently the AMPTP strategy, it came out today, it leaked. Their strategy is, we'll just wait them out. We'll wait till they have no money left. They're broke. They get kicked out of their apartments, and then we'll make them settle a measly deal, which, if you ask me, bullshit. Bullshit. That's all I can say. AI is a big issue for Sag Aftra. They are saying right now, the studios are saying the same thing that said WJ. Don't worry about it. We got your back. We got you. Trust us. And they don't trust them. Of course, they don't trust them. DGA, they gave them a deal right away. Everything they wanted with AI, but writers, actors, go fuck yourself. And also on top of that, there's the money basis. I heard there's like a 9% raise off the top they want, and then they want their yearly raises for a 3-year contract after that. So it's a lot. I don't know if it's going to happen, but all signs for me point to there's going to be a strike. It's going to happen at midnight tonight, and you're going to see the picket signs. I mean, Sag Aftra has already started making the signs. They're looking for captains to go out there and run the picketing. I actually signed up for it myself, so I might be out there helping picket and run these outside the studios. So it's one of those things that's going to happen. It's just going to happen, honestly. At the end of the day, I can't see it not happening. Right, Sabrina? The strike's happening, don't you think?
I'm fairly confident, yes, that there will be a strike, unfortunately. But, you know, if there is a time to do it, now is the time. You already have the WGA on strike, so the work is already scarce. So it's not like anyone's out there, you know, making a full living anyway. So we might as well, you know, fight for what we deserve with them, you know, so that hopefully everybody gets a good, you know, deal. Hearing that they're waiting for people to lose their apartments is a little bit absurd. It's extremely fucked up and a little bit absurd, because there's no way, especially if they get to that point, there is no way that anyone's going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'll just take $1. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life, especially after going through this starvation phase, which Hollywood is doing anyway, you know? So I think it's stupid. It's foolish. But I'm proud of SAG, because we're honestly a bunch of pussies usually, you know, very, 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 very reluctant to strike.
Very true.
That Gabrielle Cartieres, or whatever her name is, would just go in like with a cracker and be like, cool, whatever you want. That's fine. We got robes for people who are naked. Great. That's amazing. As if that hadn't been happening since the dawn of time. So I'm glad that somebody who has a pair of balls, Fran Drescher, good for you. I didn't vote for you, but now I changed my mind. I just feel like, you know, we're in a good place and we should absolutely do it. We shouldn't settle, and we should support the WGA, and we should make those assholes who are talking about starving people and getting them kicked out of their housing fucking pay. Because they're all going home to their penthouse fucking suites and their freaking lavish houses in Santa Barbara or Montecito or where the fuck ever, because they're all super rich, like Zaslav getting paid freaking $2 million a week, which I'm going to say every show because it's obnoxious. So I think that they're the ones that need to get their shit together and fucking maybe take a minuscule pay cut, so that instead of having 19 cars, they only get to have 15, and pay your fucking writers and your actors. Thank you.
And the last time SAG had a strike was it was 2000, but it was only the commercial actors, wasn't the full guild. I think it was like 1980 was the very last one they had that lasted like 3 months. And then the last time that the WGA and Sag Aftra had a strike together was 63 years ago.
63.
Yeah, 63 years
1960.
ago.
No, it was 1960. 63 years ago, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, long time ago. This is monumental if it happened. Sean, do you think that the SAG should strike on this? And do you think that it's kind of crazy what the AMPTP said about making people starve it out? Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot, right?
No, when I read that this morning, I thought I was reading some kind of dystopian fiction, but no. Just a reminder, we do live in terrible
Metropolis.
times. Yes, and people are getting paid exorbitant amounts of money while people still starve every single goddamn day. And I think it's more fuel for the fire for WGA. I think that the SAG should be out there with them. I think a strike is inevitable. It's just people are seeing and we're seeing it worldwide, right? Like, the piece of the pie has to be more equitable. It has to be more inclusive. And if we have to take the streets and demand it, then so be it. So
That's
yeah,
what has to
I,
happen.
I, I stand I stand with my fellow SAG people, even though I'm not really in that world. But yeah, you got my
You
support. I'll,
are.
I'll send you pizza. Uh, a good
Thank
buddy of
you.
mine out in California has been going out to the WGA strikes every couple weeks, Dan Shepling, and supporting all the efforts there. So, it's very near and dear to me. As a lover of content, both good and bad. I think it's just now's the time to pay people what they deserve and start cutting into the fat cats a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. And that was a picture next to was Fran Drescher out there actually picketing too,
On
and
the
she's a
picket
big
line.
person
Good for
pushing for
her.
this. Yep, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, pushing. They're calling her the. It's funny. They're like the nanny's here, the nanny negotiator. They're calling her out there. So good for the nanny negotiator making that
I'm
happen.
proud
Like
of her.
Fran Drescher actually being a good president and standing up for the people, and that's a big deal because you're a figurehead, and figureheads should do that. It's just very important.
It's a new thing.
It's a new
Absolutely.
thing. Never, it doesn't happen. I mean, with Ken Howard would have been doing that. Gabriella wouldn't be doing that. There's a lot of people that wouldn't do that. But Fran is doing that. And it means a lot. And I guarantee when that clock strikes midnight, we're going to have a strike.